Hi, I'm Vicki. Welcome to this Jersey Girl's home. We are gonna make lots of seasonings today. We have these cute little jars and containers to fill our homegrown herbs with, and we're gonna make some really fun spices. We have garlic scapes, sage, dill, tarragon, orange glow thyme, common thyme, lemon thyme, parsley, carrot tops, rosemary, oregano, sweet basil, purple basil, lemon basil, lime basil, cayenne peppers, freeze-dried sweet peppers, and freeze-dried cherry tomatoes. We just powdered down these sweet peppers and these shishito peppers. We have lemon drop peppers, dried habanada peppers, and more dried sweet peppers. Pippin's golden honey peppers, 2 jars of dried pimientos, dried jalapenos and pequeños, as well as Anaheims, poblano peppers, and sugar rush peach peppers. We have some Mediterranean sea salt, iodized sea salt, iodized salt, iodized sea salt flakes, some mineral salt, and we do have more in a jar if we need it, ground white pepper, ground black pepper, coarse ground black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, marjoram, smoked paprika, and saffron. These are the jars that we're going to put our specialty stuff all in that we've made. So our goal today is to use as many of the homegrown herbs that I saved, not only just herbs, but also my peppers and tomatoes. We are going to make some specialty seasonings that we will be able to cook with throughout the year. I had quite a large garden this year. It was very abundant. I saved what I made time to save, and we ate some fresh. And I even have some other stuff, but I think these are things that we would get to today. I got a lot in store for you, so let's get started. We're gonna start with seasoned salt. And that calls for a 1/2 cup of table or mineral salt, and we're gonna use iodized sea salt to start. We need 1/2 cup. Oh, I forgot to get the sugar out. We need 2.5 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of paprika, and we're gonna use our sweet pepper powder that we made from our homegrown peppers, 1 teaspoon of onion powder. I'll put that over there because that is green, so we don't want to get that in here. 1 teaspoon of onion powder. There's 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm gonna use the garlic scapes that we freeze dried. Some more green. And 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper and 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. Okay, you can see all those beautiful colors, and we're gonna mix this up. And I think I want to add a little bit more paprika. We'll start with a 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, so I'm going to put that into my container. Okay, we have seasoned salt. Okay, now we're gonna make some rotisserie chicken seasoning. We're gonna use 1 teaspoon of our sweet pepper, 1 teaspoon of paprika. Now, if you didn't have your own sweet pepper, you would just use 2 teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, 1 teaspoon of rosemary, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. You can see how beautiful that looks. That looks really cool. I guess I can add a little bit more. I guess I'll double this recipe. Check it out. Okay, now we're gonna try some KFC seasoning, and it calls for 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of ground white pepper, 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of basil. We're just gonna use a little bit of celery seed, maybe like a 1/4 teaspoon, because I don't have celery salt. But otherwise you would use 1 teaspoon of celery salt, 1 teaspoon of ground yellow mustard, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, and 4 tablespoons of paprika. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of my sweet pepper one from the garden. And then that 2 tablespoons of regular paprika. We're going to mix this up. All right, now we're going to make some Hawaiian BBQ seasoning mix. Half a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of paprika. So we're just gonna, we did 2 tablespoons of that, and we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of this sweet one. 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of chili powder. I'm just going to use my chili seasoning. A tablespoon of garlic powder and onion powder. 1 tablespoon of salt. And 2 teaspoons of cumin. We're going to give this a good mix. That smells really good. And this is a lot, so I'm going to actually put it in this container. And that fit perfectly in a 1 pint container. Okay, now we're going to start some Greek dry rub. We're going to start with some oregano. Let's get this wiped out though real quick, just so we don't get any of those flavors from the barbecue in it. 2 tablespoons of oregano, a tablespoon of marjoram, 2 tablespoons of dried basil. And I want to show you, these are freeze-dried herbs, and this is dried herbs from the store, you can really see the color and quality difference. These literally look like I just pulled them out of the garden. We have 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, so we are going to use 1 tablespoon of garlic scapes and 1 tablespoon of regular garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of dill weed, and this is using a little bit of the dill weed that I had freeze dried. That's fun, getting that in there. I don't have much of that. 1 tablespoon of sea salt flakes, 1 tablespoon of ground pepper, 1 tablespoon of lemon thyme or regular thyme if that's what you have. Thought I would use one of my specialty ones. And a half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And it does call for using some cinnamon as an option. I am actually gonna crush up and use some of my cinnamon basil in that. Okay, and then I'm just gonna mix this up really good. Now I have to decide if I want to put it in this, or I think I'm gonna hold off and put it in one of these, if it'll fit. Nope. Oh, maybe. It just fit. All right, now let's make a Tuscan seasoning blend. And that is going to take a lot of basil. So we need 6 tablespoons of basil. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 of the green sweet basil. Actually, let's see how much is in here. 4, 5, 6. We still have some left. We'll just do that. 3 tablespoons of sea salt flakes. 1, 2, 3. We're getting 2 tablespoons of dried rosemary. I'm just crushing it up some. 2 tablespoons of oregano. It's so fun looking. 2 tablespoons of thyme. 1 tablespoon of powdered garlic. That was onion powder. Guess we're gonna have a little bit of onion powder in there. Let me put the rest in here for now. Garlic powder. 2 tablespoons of ground black pepper. And a half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. I do not have fennel seeds, so we are going to use a teaspoon of caraway seeds. We're gonna mix this up really good. We're going to do 4 tablespoons of sea salt flakes, 3 tablespoons of black pepper, 3 tablespoons of garlic powder, and 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. So we're going to mix this up. Oh, perfect. All right, so the Stonehouse seasoning mix is in here. Okay, the next one we're gonna do is taco seasoning. And this is not your average taco seasoning, because this one involves cocoa powder. So we need 3 tablespoons of chili powder, and I'm using 2 tablespoons of chili seasoning and then 1 tablespoon of paprika. And then we need 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. It smells good. 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 2.5 teaspoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Okay, just gonna mix that around. We're gonna add that in here. Now, it is filled to the brim. Okay, but we got it in there. Let's make our fajita seasoning. We need 3 tablespoons of sweet smoked paprika. This is a half a tablespoon, so I'm gonna do 6 of these, so 3 tablespoons. And then 3 tablespoons of regular paprika. All right, 2 tablespoons of cumin and 1.5 tablespoons of oregano. 1.5 tablespoons of onion powder. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. A teaspoon of sugar. And then we are going to use some of the lime basil to give our fajita seasoning a citrusy flavor that is typically found in a fajita seasoning. Oh, that smells beautiful. I'm actually wondering if this would fit in here. Maybe not. Might have to change plans a little bit, figuring us out. All right, and now we're gonna work on a Spanish seasoning blend. So we need 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. Calls for 1 teaspoon of cilantro leaves, but I'm just gonna use parsley instead. A half a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and then we are going to add in the saffron, just a little bit. I'm gonna mix that up, make some of these herbs smaller. It smells very smoky and yummy. Going to make some farm dust, and my mic died. This was the last one I did for that night, so I'm gonna talk over. We need 4 tablespoons of salt. I chose the iodized sea salt. We need 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and I'm gonna use my garlic scapes. 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of thyme, and I ran out of my regular thyme, so we're back to store-bought. We're going to get 1.5 teaspoons of oregano, and 1 teaspoon of rosemary, which I got to crush in there. And last but not least, 1 teaspoon of basil, and I'm going to use my purple basil that I saved from the garden. We're going to mix this up really well. Look at how beautiful that looks. Absolutely stunning. Get that label on. And that's a wrap for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. It's day 2. We are just finishing up in the morning. I started really late yesterday, so I didn't get finished. We are gonna make rosemary salt. And I'm thinking this will taste really good on steaks with some garlic. Some fresh garlic in there. That would be really good. Okay, so let's add a little bit more. because this is really gonna break down. So this is mineral salt. Okay. And let's get our rosemary in there, because we still have all this rosemary. So let's get that in there and see how it ends up looking. It looks good. Looks really pretty. You can see how it smells. Let's let it settle for a second. That smells really good. Look how beautiful that is. That is so pretty. And let me tell you, if you have clogged sinuses, make some spices. It will clear you right out. Okay, rosemary salt. So exciting. All right, let's get this into a little container to save. And these are just gonna go right, these extras will just go right into my cabinet for my extra spices. And then when I get low on here, I'll just refill. And this really doesn't take long. Even if you don't have spices that you grew yourself or herbs that you grew yourself to use, you totally can make these from store-bought herbs for a fraction of what it would cost to buy these already mixed together. So don't feel like you have to grow your herbs to do this. This can be totally done with store-bought herbs. That is no problem. All right, so 1/4 cup of paprika. Clean those sinuses out for sure. 1.5 tablespoons of onion powder. And we're making all around seasoning. 1.5 tablespoons of garlic. 1 tablespoon of cayenne pepper. 2 tablespoons of white pepper. Make that 1 tablespoon. I forgot I was cutting this in half. 1 tablespoon of black pepper. 2 teaspoons of salt. We're gonna use orange clove thyme because our regular thyme is no longer here. 2 teaspoons of thyme. All right, 1, 2, that looks great. 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. 2 teaspoons of cumin and 2 teaspoons of chili seasoning. So pretty. We're gonna mix this up. Let me just make sure all these spices are mixed. Okay. Let's get this labeled. All around seasoning mix. Beautiful. Another accomplishment. We are almost done. We only have 2 more to do in here, and then we can add to that one because I switched this out with something else. Next up, Voodoo. Excited about this one. Just do a quick cleanup here. When I'm doing this, I don't want to use a wet towel because we do not want to add any moisture to these jars. I'm just using a dry towel to wipe the dust out of my bowls and surface. 2 tablespoons of salt. We're making the Voodoo Replica, which is a type of Cajun seasoning. And while we don't really eat seafood much, my husband will, but me and the kids and I do not. So we're gonna use this on vegetables. I really like to have my vegetables with this. Okay, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm gonna do, it calls for 1.5 tablespoons of garlic powder. I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon of garlic powder and 1/2 tablespoon garlic scapes because I'm trying to use my homegrown spices that I have here as well. Then it calls for 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika and 1 tablespoon of regular paprika. I'm gonna use 1/2 tablespoon of this one and 1/2 tablespoon of my sweet pepper powder. I'm gonna use a half a tablespoon of crushed red pepper, but you could use 1 tablespoon. A half a tablespoon of chili seasoning. I wanna bring you over here because this is really pretty. 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of dried basil, we're going to use our purple basil because we are out of our regular sweet basil. 1 teaspoon of dried parsley. Oh, that might have been a little bit of basil in there. 2 teaspoons of black pepper and 1 teaspoon of white pepper. We're going to mix this up. Oh, that looks so pretty. And it smells delicious. Oh, I can't wait to use this. This one, I'm really excited about this one. That is definitely something different for us. All right, now we're gonna try this burger seasoning. 1/4 cup of salt, 2 tablespoons of paprika, and 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1.5 tablespoons of dried parsley, a half a tablespoon of ground cumin. I'm gonna use this coarser ground pepper. All right, half a tablespoon of black pepper and a half a tablespoon of basil, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, and 1 teaspoon of dry mustard. Again, we're gonna mix this up. Ooh, that's another pretty one. Exciting. And the smells are just incredible. Okay, burger seasoning. And we're on our last one. How cool. Okay, so we're gonna make a tomato herb seasoning. And this one I do not have a recipe for, so we are just going to kind of wing it. All right, let's start with, we have these freeze-dried tomatoes that we are going to powder. Okay, so here's our tomato powder. We are gonna add some salt to that. And I really don't know how much because I'm just eyeballing all this. This is just, we're having some fun with this one. I would say the ratio would probably be twice as much tomato powder as salt. 2:1 tomato salt. Let's do a tablespoon of parsley, a tablespoon of garlic scapes, a tablespoon of basil, and I'm gonna do a tablespoon of shishito powder. Let's add a little bit of crushed red pepper. And this looks like another fun one. It smells really good. Hey guys, we just finished. We just put them away on our shelves for their new home. And I just want to real quick go through what we have. We have rotisserie chicken seasoning, taco seasoning, farm dust, basil salt, rosemary salt, Stonehouse seasoning, seasoned salt, all around seasoning mix, Spanish seasoning mix, Voodoo mix, which is a Cajun type seasoning, KFC seasoning mix, and burger seasoning. We also have a Tuscan Seasoning blend, tomato herb seasoning, Hawaiian BBQ seasoning, Greek dry rub, and Fajita seasoning. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it. It did not take long to put all these spices together, and so to compare, I went to the grocery stores, a few different ones, and just browsed the aisles to see what was there. And most of the mixed herbs are about $6 to $10, and I have 12 here. There's 5 up here, 12 down here. That really does add up if I had to buy all this myself, which I don't. I've really stuck to pretty basic seasoning mixes, so I'm pretty excited to try the different flavors and see how they match up to what we like. I still have a lot more freeze-dried and dehydrated herbs and vegetables that I will put in my cabinet below here where I keep my bulk kitchen spices. I have some leftovers from this that I couldn't fit in here, so I'll put those down there as well. I will have to figure out what I'm doing with the rest of them. I know some of the things I still want to make, but I'm not ready to make them yet. I will see you again soon. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.